right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow you do not have a test because they're just one word, and that would be a waste of your time and my time. Can we agree?
Yep.
So there is no vocab quiz tomorrow. You do have a lecture. On Thursday you do have a test. It is 30 minutes. I almost said 25 minutes. But truly it's only 30. You have a focus and a map due. If you were not here yesterday, you need to come see me to make up your primer. It takes 14 minutes. It's not bad. I would come see me in the morning. I don't think you have enough time after your test to do it, right, Addison? So here we go. This is Mao propaganda. First of all, can we appreciate the guy on the rocket, though? Just like drink that in right there. Okay, here we go. All right, yesterday, Jade, where'd we get to?
Iran.
Oh, yeah! We got all the way to Iran?
Yeah, the punk guy.
Oh, yeah.
Mohammed Reza Pahlavi.
Guys, we're crushing it. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Iran. We know that it has oil, so everyone wants it, yes? Okay, so the United States and Great Britain put a guy in power called Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The U.S. wants it. That's why they scream death to America. Yeah, they're not big fans of us. And honestly, justified. Here we go. So, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi is put into power by the U.S. Then, the people of Iran, write it down, the people of Iran push him out and elect Mohammad Mossadegh into power. So he's elected. He's elected. Okay? Well, the United States and Great Britain is like, we don't like him. Oopsies, we kill him. Oopsies. Just oopsies. So, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi is in power. He gets kicked out of power and replaced by Mohammad Mossadegh, who is elected. Then, oopsies, we kill him. And then they re-put Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in power. So how many times has Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi been in power now in Iran? Twice. So he is in power. You need to know he's pretty progressive, which means he's very liberal. He isn't a horrible person. He really isn't. He's giving women right to vote. He's creating social welfare. He's funding literacy projects. He's not a terrible person, but he's being put into power by the United States and Great Britain. Not a great look. So, what is going to happen? In 1979, we have the Iranian Revolution. Okay? So, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi has been put in power twice in Iran on the back of the United States. And then in 1979, we have the Iranian Revolution. You need to know that, I see you, Olivia, give me 2 seconds. They are going to remove Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and they are going to create a ultra-conservative theocracy based on Shiite Islam. What do you got, Olivia? Absolutely, which is just the bonkers nature of the whole thing. So we had an elected official, elected by the people, for the people, okay? And the United States was like, nah, it's not a great look. Can we agree? They're Shiite. You need to know that they're going to create an ultra-conservative theocracy that is Shiite. What makes Shiite unique, Lauren?
The Shiites are the ones that's like the bigger.
No.
That's the song where they believe that like the successor has to be removed.
There you go. It is the smallest minority of Islam. There's only been 2 governments made in his name. One of it is the Iranians, and who is the other one? Thomas. The Safavid. Those were only 2 in history. Okay, this is going to cause lots of problems. A, they hate America because of the hypocrisy. Okay, and today in 2023, how does Iran feel about us? Death to America. They're the ones, every time you see a bunch of people burning a flag, American flag, who usually is it? Iranian. They hate us. Which, next country, Venezuela. We're going to write 2 things for Venezuela. We'll come back to that in like 2 weeks. Venezuela is going to do land redistribution, and it will destabilize their government. In 2 weeks, we'll come back, and we'll talk about the impact of it. It destabilizes their government because it's pretty unpopular. All right, Guatemala. So if you thought Iran was bad, here we go. All right, you need to know that Jacob Arbenz is going to be elected president of Guatemala. Okay? He is going to challenge the United Fruit Company. Okay? What is the United Fruit Company? What is the United Fruit Company? Andrew?
Isn't it like a company that the United States had? They sold bananas to them, or they bought all their bananas and stuff like that, or they bought like all their fruit and then sold it for super expensive prices, or...
Sort of. You're not wrong, but let me clarify a couple things. Okay, for United Fruit Company, you need to underline it. You have to know this. AP likes it. Okay, United Fruit Company is a U.S. company. Is a U.S. company that controls the market and prices of goods in foreign countries for our own benefit, for the U.S. benefit. Okay, so let me explain. Okay, using Guatemala. In Guatemala, you have a farmer who sells oranges. And just to make things easy, the Guatemalan farmer sells an orange for $1 in Guatemala. You go up to his farm stand, and he sells you the most beautiful orange for $1. Okay? With that being said, the United Fruit Company comes in and goes up to all of the small farmers in Guatemala and says, hey, I will pay you $5,000 if you sell me 80% of all of your fruit. You know, I'm selling all of it, but I want 80% of your fruit. So what do most of those small farmers do? They sell it because A, I get to sell you all of my fruit, and B, you're going to just give me cash to sign a piece of paper. So a lot of them do it. Inside the contract, oopsies, it is the U.S. it's the U.S. United Fruit Company that get to set the prices. So, in Guatemala, you could buy an orange for $1. The United Fruit Company is going to buy it for 30 cents. So who is losing here? The Guatemalans. Now, as soon as the United Fruit Company gets that delicious orange from Guatemala back to the United States, what are they going to do to the price? They're going to jack it up to, maybe $1.50. Okay, so who's making all the profit? The farmer who actually grew, raised, cut, packaged, or the United Fruit Company who just paid a lot of money to get these contracts in the first place? Who makes all the money? United Fruit Company. You need to know United Fruit Company is going to destabilize Latin American economies. Why? Because what is the largest exports coming out of Latin America? Fruit. Who is controlling the fruit distribution? Us, the United Fruit Company. And are we paying fair prices for it? No. We're not even paying like a third of what we actually sell it for. Colin. No, it's not. In the 90s, it starts cutting back. But don't you dare think the United States still doesn't get its prize cuts of things. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Alex, cover your damn mouth. That's so rude. Okay, So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, of course all of your parents right now when they go to the grocery store are complaining about how high prices are. Yes? Okay? I just want you to know, historically, Americans pay less in groceries than any other modern country in the world. Our prices are false prices because we've always had contracts with countries that get us low prices because we buy in such major quantities. Does that make sense? Because we're one of the largest countries, largest populations, all of those types of things, and we've always had the economic base. So when you go to the store today and you hear your parents complaining, there's a lot of reasons for why prices have gone up: distribution, inflation, all these other things. It's not just the United Fruit Company. But we historically are used to paying low prices, and that has really been changing in the last 10, 20 years, which is causing an economic crisis here in the United States in our homes. Can we agree? Okay, and it's causing a lot of problems because a lot of these companies are no longer doing this because it's wrong. Yes? On the flip side of it, how many times have you heard Americans complaining about all these Latin American citizens coming to the United States borders? Right, through immigration, the Guatemalans, the Haitians, Venezuela, all of these immigrants are coming to the United States borders, and people are criticizing them, saying, well, why don't they just go back to their own country? Guys, why is their country in chaos? Yeah, we're going to have a huge role in the destabilization of these economies. So when these economies are being fragmented and broken down, which is allowing these gangs to rise up in power and create tumultuous situations in these countries, who is at the root of it? Yeah. So you know how our boy Jacob Arbenz, you know how he's trying to take on the United Fruit Company in order to improve the quality of life of his people in Guatemala, which is one of these countries that people criticize all the time for coming to the border in huge numbers. His car blows up mysteriously. Yeah, and guess who gets to continue to lead the dominance and exploitation of Guatemala? The United Fruit Company. Shocking, is it not? Yes, you do need to know that he is going to die through covert action, aka his car blows up. So, when you hear people say things about immigrants coming to this country, go back home, like fix your own country, like, will you please just educate them a little bit, please? Hello? Now, am I saying that we should open our doors to every single person who comes to our borders? Is that what I'm saying? No, but should we have a little bit more care and empathy and compassion for all these people? Because it's not like the United States has no impact on the scenario in which we find ourselves. All right, here we go. Vietnam. Actually, I'm going to skip Vietnam. I'm coming back to it because I have to teach you Ho Chi Minh, and I just would rather teach it all in one swoop. Ethiopia is where I want to go. Okay, Ethiopia, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know it was independent. It was never conquered, which is pretty cool. And the people of Ethiopia are very proud of that, and they should be, because that is hella impressive. Okay, you need to know that they have a leader called Haile Selassie, who is not affiliated with the West. Who is not, and I would underline not, affiliated with the West. What? Haile Selassie. Okay. Who is not affiliated with the West, but because people think he is, he gets removed from power. Okay. And will be replaced by a military government. Okay, that will be in place until 1991. Okay, so we had Iran. We just talked about Iran, which is going to depose its leader because of direct ties to the United States and the UK, yes? We just talked about Guatemala, who had a homegrown Guatemalan challenge the U.S. government. What happened to that guy? Got killed. Now we have a Ethiopian who has no ties to the West. But because people think he has ties to the West, what happens to him? He gets kicked out and replaced by a military leader. So what is everyone fearing all around the world? Everyone is fearing the West and the influence the West has on people. What do you need, man? Yeah, there's tissues in the box. All right. India is your next. Okay, India. Some of this should be review, and if you do not remember it, shame. Write it down then. Okay. Gandhi is going to lead the independence movement. Gandhi believes in the one-state solution. What is the one-state solution, Lincoln? No. One-state solution. Andrew?
They split in
No splitting. It's one state.
No, but they did, like, there was a two-state one and a one-state one.
Yeah,
He doesn't want them to split.
He doesn't want them.
Yeah.
So no division.
Yeah.
One India. Gandhi is all about one India. Then we have the two-state solution. The two-state solution is what, Lincoln? When they split into... You're not Lincoln. Lincoln. Pakistan and India. Okay? And who leads the two-state movement? Oh, guys, you need to know. I only ask you to know like 3 Indian people. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Write it down. Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Okay? He believes in the two-state. So in 1947, India gets its independence and immediately does the partition. You have to know that term. The partitioning of India is the creation of the state of Pakistan. In 1947. 1979 is Iranian. Okay, so in 1947, India gets its independence. In 1947, they also begin the partitioning of India, or the division of India into Pakistan and India, or the two-state solution. With that being said, India is going to do land reform, and it's pretty-ish successful. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. Okay, so India is going to gain its independence under Gandhi. Gandhi gets killed. Isn't that, like, could you imagine being Gandhi and just, anyway, he gets murdered in the middle of the street. I mean, there's a lot of political tension. There's a lot of political, I'm not saying I support the murdering of Gandhi. However, there is a lot of political tension. Controversial. Gandhi was really, really opposed to the two-state solution. I think next week we really cover his death. Anyway, all right, here we go. Okay. I almost said Gandhi, not Gandhi. Ghana is your next country. Ghana decolonization is the heading. Okay. Please listen to me. Do you know how when we do writing weeks, there are themes that keep coming up that answer multiple questions? Hello? Like stupid champ of rice. Fine, but you notice that you can use it for lots of things. I'm telling you right now, the decolonization of Ghana and Algeria are the 2 most important decolonizations. It's so important, I've even broken down how they are similar and different. This is an absolute non-negotiable. You have to know it. Is everyone clear on that? They're similar and different. And I will teach you that now. You have to know this. There's like 4 questions on your test about it. AP loves it. It will be in one of your essay questions in some way that you can use Ghana versus Algeria. It's a huge deal. So let's begin. Ghana. Ghana is a colony of the British. And in 1957, it asked the UN to negotiate its independence. And in 1960, it elects Kwame Nkrumah to be the first president. 1960.
Is that name recorded?
Yes, you have to know his name. It comes up multiple times. Guys, it's the... Okay, so In 1957, Ghana asked the UN to help them gain their independence. And what does the British have to say? Well, if the UN is telling them, hey, you need to give independence, what are the British going to say? They have to say yes. It's brilliant. So what? By the way, you don't need to write this down. This is the first year of Queen Elizabeth's reign, 1957. As soon as she comes into power, he asks for independence, and this will be the focus of the rest of her reign. All right. You need to know that Ghana nationalism is going to be reconstructed. Write this down. This is a non-negotiable. Ghana nationalism is going to be reconstructed to exclude slavery and imperialism, so it can focus on its ancestral past. It bases its story off of the American foundation. Like the glorification we use for it, like the fact that we have American flags everywhere. Yes? You do know that other countries don't have obsession with their flags like we do? Sure. If you go to other countries, like they have flags and stuff around, like but it's not like draped on people. Like France doesn't really walk around with like French flags on like their underwear and bathing suits. Sure. Nor does Italy, Spain, and pretty much any other country. Like, we take it to a whole new level, which is both positive and negative. You can see an American far, far away. Huh?
How is that negative?
Have you been to a foreign country? What is it kind of?
Yeah. I don't really like, if I'm in a foreign country, I don't think about like other flags.
I don't look at flags from another country.
But the fact that you don't have to dress it is an American thing. Here in America, we're obsessed with our flag, which is both wonderful and also kind of funny.
It's just
It is kind of, Europeans find it very funny that we are just like obsessed with this flag. And that's fine. There's pros and there are cons to it. Don't you dare worry. I've got a bunch of shirts with American presidents on it with a bunch of flags. My 4th of July selection is, I'm a history teacher. Of course, I've gotten dorky July 4th shirts. Okay? I've also one of George Washington. It's one of my faves. Anyway, moving forward to what we're actually talking about. Okay, so Ghana is going to get its independence. Unfortunately, in 1964, Ghana goes to a one-party system, and Nkrumah becomes a dictator. Whoops! Okay. And in 1967, the military stages a coup, and Ghana is held under a military government. In 1967, Nkrumah is going to be pushed out, and he will be replaced by a military government until 2000. Oopsies. Okay. What you do need to know, Nkrumah, he is known for creating Pan-Africanism, which is the beauty of Africa and this whole pride of being African, which we can still see to this day happening. And he creates the Organization of African Unity, which is this connection of African countries helping other African nations. So he is a big deal. He's like a bad guy because he allowed corruption to get into it, but he's not like a mean person. He just didn't want to not be in power, so not ideal. Can we agree? Okay, don't worry. Shit gets worse in Algeria. Here we go. Algeria is your next one. This is a non-negotiable. You have to know. Okay. You need to know Algeria is a French colony that the French wanted to keep for 2 reasons. It is a French colony that the French wanted to keep for two reasons. One, it had 1 million French citizens. Two, Algeria was the largest purchaser of French goods. So, was it important to the French economy?
Yeah.
Yes, super important to the French economy. So, Algeria's French colony. It is super important for two reasons. A, it has 1 million French citizens. Two, it is the largest exporter or importer of French goods. Okay? They go to war. What? Is that what you're going to guess? The Algerian War of Independence is fought between the French and the National Liberation Front, or the FLN. The National Liberation Front, FLN. So, the Algerian Civil War is going to break out. You need to know that the FLN are going to use guerrilla warfare. It is a brutal war. There are death everywhere because of this guerrilla warfare. What is guerrilla warfare, Grace? No. Well,
Was it where they like hid in the forest?
okay, that's America. There's not many forests in Algeria. It's a desert, but yes.
Or they just like hid and then they ambushed.
They hid within populations, women and children are civilians, and they pop out, kill a bunch of people, and then blend right back in. It's typically how our Americans are getting killed in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan conflicts. Guerrilla warfare is created by America, and it's the #1 killer of Americans in our armed forces today.
It's not what we use in the American Revolution.
Yes, it is. What do you got, Lauren? It's the National Liberation Front, or the FLN. They use guerrilla warfare. It is incredibly brutal. You need to know that President Charles de Gaulle. What airport do you fly into when you fly into France? Charles de Gaulle. He's a national hero. He is going to lead the French government while it's in England during World War II because the Nazis take over France, yes? Charles de Gaulle. Okay, so Charles de Gaulle is going to ask the French National Assembly to vote whether they should keep fighting or not fighting. They vote to leave Algeria. Okay, so the Algerian Civil War the Algerian War of Independence breaks out between French and the National Liberation Front. It's very brutal. It is unpopular in France, which is why de Gaulle asked the National Assembly to vote for it, to vote on it. They vote to leave. So the French leave Algeria. At the same time, the Algerians vote for their first president. That president gets overthrown in a coup immediately. So how are things going in Algeria? Not good. And once the military coup happens, Algeria falls into a civil war. Right, Will? You should probably be writing this down. So, the Algerian War for Independence ends. France is leaving. Algeria has its independence. It votes for a president. The president gets overthrown in a coup. Then the Algerian Civil War breaks out. The Algerian Civil War is between Islamic enclaves or Islamic conflicts. Okay? And it will lead to a military state. Islamic rivals. And it will lead to a military state. How's Algeria today? Oh, it's not good. I don't think as Americans we can even go and visit. I don't think so. It's better than it was, but it's still not great. In 2011, it was on the cusp of collapse, which is, you know. Oh, I'm not doing that. I thought I was going to get a prize because I wore my Strength Through Kindness shirt or whatever it is. And they wanted me to come and get a picture. I wanted a prize. I could use the snack.
Well, Porcelli has snacks in her room.
Why does Priscilla have snacks in her room?
Because it's Valentine's Day.
No.
So, take a picture.
Okay. Comparing Ghana and Algeria. You have to know this. Okay. They both fall under military rule. If you had to pick one, which one do you prefer? Ghana or Algeria? Ghana for sure. But did they both end in wonderful situations? Does one end in a wonderful situation? No. Okay? You need to know that Ghana does get a constitution and will be recognized by the UN. So long term, what country works out the best? Ghana. Ghana today is doing actually really well in 2023.
They join the UN or
They're recognized by the UN and they're in the UN. Ghana today is actually doing really, really well. It has a huge tourist insurgency post Wakanda Forever. Black Panther is based on Guyanese culture. And a lot of the artists and culture and imagery is actually from Ghana. So a lot of Americans and Europeans have been going to Ghana for tourism. And apparently it's a really beautiful country and is really, really thriving right now, which is amazing. They're one of the strongest economies in Africa today, which is really, really cool because it's had a pretty hard go of it. Can we agree? Okay, Algeria. Algeria is still a mess because of religious tensions. They also have a new problem called terrorism. So, Algeria is not doing well. So, you have to know the difference between Ghana and Algeria. Okay, Ghana's use of the UN to achieve independence is going to be incredibly powerful. Okay, post-Algerian conflict. Post-Algerian conflict, France gives independence to its colonies. Why? They don't want to go to war again. They don't want to have this conflict back home. It's also destabilizing their economy because war is very expensive. It's also not very popular. All of these things are happening. Okay. Vietnam, ladies and gentlemen, is our next heading. I've already taught you some of this. So, I'm going to hit through it really, really quick. Ho Chi Minh is going to rise in power, and he's pro-communism. Okay, they're going to start the Vietnam War. In 1956, officially. That includes the United States. Goes from 1956 to 1975 for the U.S. Okay, and it will not stop the spread of communism. So it is a failure. And that's what's kind of funny. So with all of this talk with China and these balloon things, yes, obviously China continues to escalate the conversation. I'm not saying we're going to war. I'm not saying we're going to war, but tension is a little high right now with China. A lot of people are like, well, why don't we just go to war with China? You do know that the United States hasn't won a war since World War II, right? We've lost everything. Every conflict we've entered, we've lost. So, should the United States be super high confidence going into war with China? No. Do we really want a war with China? No. So, avoiding it is really the best option because you'll be the ones fighting in it. Not ideal. Can we agree? So, let's avoid it. But Americans, a lot of Americans have super high confidence, like, let's go to war. We haven't won a war since World War II. Okay? We've lost Vietnam. We've lost Korean War. We've lost Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan. We've lost the Iranian War. We have lost our control over impact and influence in Syria. We've lost Kuwait. Yeah. Now, am I telling you that the United States doesn't have the power or the authority to go all in on a war? No, of course. If America needs to rally, what does America do every time America has to rally? we rally. We put on our big girl and big boy pants and we go off to war and we win it because we are back-to-back World War champs. However, if we're not in a world war, how are we doing? Yeah, we're not doing so well. Okay, and that's really important for you to understand that this whole idea of America being like untouchable in battle isn't quite true unless America is 100% in a total war. Is everyone clear on that? Okay? This isn't me saying, oh my God, America can't beat China. I think we could beat China. I just don't want to beat China. Right? Can we agree? Huh?
We have a lot more allies too.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of issues. How much time do I have?
3 minutes.
3 minutes or 1 minute?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Your clock is up.
Can we be done?
Yes.
Are we ahead?
No, that's where my other class stopped too.